Hi, welcome to Accounting 2302. I wanted to give you a quick run through and orientation on how the course is structured. There's a lot going on, a lot of assignments, a lot of deadlines. So I kind of wanted to make sure you knew where to find things. So when you go into your course in Blackboard, first you're going to click on the Read Me First, and it's going to give you some information that you need to be doing. One thing it's going to stress is to look at the syllabus. Read it thoroughly, carefully. Ask me any questions. I would suggest printing it. You can find the syllabus right here, and you will see there's two different section numbers, so you can find the section that you're in. However, I will tell you that these syllabi are identical since it's both an online class. It's going to give you information on the basics of the courses, of course, how it's set up. You can see the grading. 60% unit test, 20% homework, 10% chapter quizzes, 10% on the final exam. It's going to give you your ADA information, the last data drop, of course. It will mention there's a syllabus quiz. This must be completed before you get credit for any assignments. It's only one question. I will show it to you in quizzes and exams in just a second. But again, you have to do that. If you do assignments without doing this, you're going to get a 0 on the assignment. So just make sure you get that done. It tells you the book that's needed. Connect is the homework manager that we use. If you have used Connect in the last semester or so, you will not have to pay for it again, but I will show you where you go in to register for the new course. But again, you're not going to have to pay for it again if you took it last semester. You are going to need a webcam for this class. All of the exams are recorded by video and they're locked down, so you cannot go to any other resources. You can use a computer with a webcam or you can use an external webcam. And I mentioned Connect. And this, again, the syllabus, I'm not going to read through it. You can read that, but it gives you the curriculum. It does mention Connect has 3 homework assignments for every chapter. So that's a lot of practice that we're going to get done. But a lot of accounting is just kind of like math. It's a lot of practice. It's not math equations and formulas and stuff like that, but you are working with numbers and it's best to just practice. There's also a chapter quiz for every chapter. That's in Blackboard. So I'm going to go through here, talking about testing and the consequences on your video. There's some discussions. There's 2 discussions that are required. This gives you the due dates, and I will show those to you in the course. The final exam for this class is not a typical final exam with a bunch of questions. It's going to be a long practice problem. So it's going to be back from chapter 3. It's covering the basics, and it'll be in Connect. You'll notice my exam makeup policy, there are no makeups. However, if you miss an exam and get a 0, you can replace it or your lowest test grade with the final exam grade. So that is explained here. And at the end of the syllabus are all of the test dates. You'll see they're open for a period of 3 days. Your final exam date. So I would suggest printing the syllabus and going through it thoroughly and make sure that you ask me any questions. If you need to send me a message in Blackboard, you can do that here or you can just email me. This calendar right here is one that I've prepared, and it's going to list the due dates for the class. So you'll see there's a lot going on. I would suggest printing this. Either keep the hard copy or put it in your phone or wherever you keep up with your deadlines, because it's very easy if you don't keep up with things to miss things. And I do not accept late homework or late quizzes, so you would get a 0 on those. Here's the instructor information. It gives my email address. I will not be working on campus, so I will not have regular office hours in my office. However, I am going to have virtual office hours. These are going to be 8 to 10 Monday through Friday. You will click on online office hours over here. It's going to be Blackboard Collaborate. during that period of time. I will ask that you schedule an appointment. Let me know you're coming, basically, to make sure that I'm sitting there. I am available, but just to make sure I'm sitting there and know that you're there. You can also email me during that time, and we can set up other appointment times that are mutually agreed upon, and you can, of course, email me at any time. So again, you would log on to the online office hours. You can do video and audio, or you can do just audio. You can sign on with a phone. That's up to you. You're going to go to Connect Registration. Go here first to get into the Accounting 2302 class. So even if you had Connect before with 2301, you need to go in here to get into the new class. Again, you're not going to have to pay if you've taken it within a semester. After that, you can go here to the Connect link and you will be able to get into the course. The learning modules are set up. There's a Getting Started learning module, and then there's one for each unit. A unit would be an exam period. So for example, the first unit is Unit 1, and it covers chapters 14 through 16. And then these others, they're hidden at this point, but they will be open before we get to that section. So the Getting Started has a lot of information in here. A lot of it's kind of duplicate that I've kind of already shown you. The Read Me First, the syllabus. It's just another way you can get to it. The calendar. Course orientation discusses the discussions a little bit. To do checklist gives you what you need to do the first few days. Again, the Connect Registration. Testing using Respondus Monitor. You need to pay attention to this, especially if you have never used it before. It's going to give you specific instructions on downloading it for WCJC. And also if you're using a Mac or an iPad. It's going to give you also some information on actually taking the test and what's required. There's a copyright notice you need to read, academic honesty statement you need to read, online learning environment assessment, and the distance education frequently asked questions. So that's all in the That's all in the Getting Started learning module. So for example, let's look at Unit 1, again covering chapters 14 through 16. It's going to list the different PowerPoints. There's a PowerPoint that's been reduced from the publisher's PowerPoint and some things added for every chapter. So you'll see chapter 14, chapter 15. There can be some practice problems for the different chapters, chapter 16 PowerPoints. Here's the cost accounting classifications. So you'll see as you start going through the different chapters that this is really just a summary of the different cost accounting classifications that we've been learning. For every exam, there's a review that's posted, and there may be some practice questions that give you just some extra practice. And then you also have a link to the exam here. So the practice exercises are going to have different exercises that typically I would do in class with my face-to-face class. So there's going to be the practice. For example, this one's chapter 14 practice. So it's going to be an exercise, and it's also going to give you the answer. And then I've also if you see this with audio, I've gone through and actually I'm working the problem and talking through it. So if you like demonstrations where it shows how to work the problems, you might want to select these. I am adding those new for this semester. I will stay at least a step ahead of you, but I do not have all of the chapters posted at this point, but they'll be there in plenty of time for you. So again, this is just duplicate right here, the practice and then the practice audio. It's just this one's just going to be a PDF form with answers, and this one's actually just walking through it. So that's for the learning modules. Respondus lockdown instructions give you more specific instructions on what to do, what not to do. Here's the discussions. As I mentioned, there's 2 discussions that are required in addition to the student introduction. This one's not really required. It's not graded. It's just telling us a little bit about yourself. So you get to kind of know who your classmates are since you don't get to see them and meet them and talk to them. These are the 2 required discussions. The discussion grades will replace your 2 lowest quiz grades, and as you can read, if you do not complete the discussion, it will result in a 0 averaging with your quiz grades. So you just need to pay attention, read what it says, here's the requirements, and then do the task by the deadline. The quizzes and exams is where you're going to go to be able to access your different quizzes and exams. Syllabus acknowledgement quiz. This is the one that's one question that must be done before you get credit for any assignments. The lockdown practice quiz, you're going to want to do this. Just make sure that all of your technology is set up correctly and that there's not any issues with you taking the exams. You're going to show your environment, for example, during the lockdown. When you do your lockdown exams, you're first going to show an ID, and then you're going to, and of course, show your face. Make sure that the ID shows the name. You can cover up the address if you want. I can look up your address if I need. I don't care where you live or any of that information. I don't care what your ID number is, your Texas driver license, but I do need to see the picture and your name. So make sure those are visible and that they're clear and not blurry. You're going to also show your environment. This is probably one of the most important things. You're going to pick up your webcam. If it's internal to your computer or laptop, you're going to pick that up. And you're going to show the area that you're working so it's evident to me that there's no resources that are not allowed that are being used. So you've got to show exactly where you're working and that no one else is in the room. You can use a calculator, but you cannot use a cell phone. You just have to show the calculator on your environment video. You can use a piece of scratch paper. You just need to show both sides. So there's more information in the learning module for the lockdown and respondus, but that's basically what you're going to be doing. And then, of course, you have all your quizzes listed, and you're going to have your exams. Your exams will not show up until they're open to you. If there's any announcements, you can click on them, or you'll see them when you first sign in. I use announcements for information about deadlines coming up. It is not my responsibility to remind you of everything, but I will, especially more the first week or two, just to make sure that you're getting engaged and understand what all the requirements are. And that there's also a place for your grades. There's Blackboard help. There's email instructions. That's how to set up your email at WCJC, and then there's some web links. So there's a lot of information in Blackboard. I just kind of want to walk through it. I don't want you to be overwhelmed, but I don't want you to miss anything as well. So I'm going to click over to Connect. So if you have not used Connect before, just to kind of show you what it looks like, again, this is the homework manager that we're going to use. It's going to list your assignments. Every chapter has 3 assignments. The first one's going to be videos. So it's some short videos from the publisher, and then there's some questions you have to answer. The Smart Book is going to ask you some questions, and then the actual one that's marked homework is going to be lengthy problems that you're going to work through. So I just want to kind of click on that one for example. As you can see, all of the due dates are listed here, and they're also on the calendar. So this one has 3 different questions, and they're equal to 100 points in total. So you'll see that it lists the problem, and then you're going to put in the information. So I'm not even sure if this is asking for numbers or not, but whatever it's asking for, you would put it in. And then there's a check my work, and it'll show you what's right and what's wrong. And you can also navigate to the different problems. So again, every problem, every homework assignment rather, is worth 100 points. So you can check to see how you're doing. You can go in and out of the homework. You can do it multiple times until the deadline, and then you're going to submit. So once the deadline has come, you cannot do the assignments for any credit. So I want to exit. There's an orientation video that's not graded, but if you have never used Connect before, you might want to take the time to do that just to see how to navigate. As you can see, here's all of the assignments that are listed. At the bottom, after all of the required assignments, you'll see an exam review. These are all optional. They're not graded. They'll give you a grade, but it doesn't count toward your course grade. And it shows a due date, but it's just really the end of the semester. These are just extra practice if you want them. This is where your final exam will be when it's time. It's not open until December 6th. So again, you're going to be doing your final exam is a long problem in Connect. You can also click on the lampshade. If you have taken other classes before, you can access them right here. You can click on results. I don't think it'll show me anything because I haven't done anything, but that's where you'll see the actual grades that you've received. So if you have any questions about what you received, you can go on there and look at that. So I hope that was helpful, kind of walking you through Blackboard and Connect. So please join me, make an appointment during my office hours, or just email me if you have any questions, and good luck.